Hey, this is the video lesson for Algebra 2, 8.4, rational expressions. So we're going to simplify them, we're going to multiply them, and we're going to divide them. So the first thing we're going to do is simplify. So these are some examples in simplified form. Basically, these are factors. If you factored this one on the top here, you would see this is x plus 2 times x plus 1, and the factor on the bottom is x plus 3. So none of those cancel, so that's simplified. Right, these ones are not in simplified form, right, because this x would cancel with one of the x's down here, and this would be the same as, that would be simplified form, right? These factors cancel, so this would be 3, and then these, you'd have to factor these. I think this is -6 and 1. No, sorry, -3 and 2. There we go. So x minus 3, x plus 2, and then the bottom here is 2 and -1. So x plus 2 and x minus 1, right? So then these two factors cancel. So this is what we're doing, basically. We are simplifying rational expressions. And remember, rational expressions are polynomials that are being divided. Okay. Also in this, we're going to be stating restrictions on the variable, right? You can't divide by 0. So this one can't be 1, this can't be -3, this one can't be 0, this can't be 3, this one can't be -2 or 1. Okay, so let's start on this first problem. I've already done a couple, but let's do this one. So this top one needs to be factored. So we're going to look for two numbers that multiply to 10 and add to 7, 5 and 2. So the top of this becomes x plus 5 times x plus 2. And then the bottom also needs to be factored. Two numbers that multiply to -10 and add to -3. So -5 and +2. So x minus 5x plus 2. Okay, and before we cancel anything, right, we can see that x plus 2 is going to cancel. You want to do your restrictions. So you state restrictions before you cancel. So this becomes 0 when x is 5, so x cannot be 5. And this becomes 0 when x is -2, so x can't be -2. Then we can cancel our two factors. So our answer is x plus 5 over x minus 5. That's simplified form. And our restrictions are that x cannot be 5 or -2. So even though we cancel this factor, it's still, you still need to use it for the restriction. Okay, because we're looking at this, right? This still, if you plug in a -2 here, you still, this function still becomes divide 0. So even though it eventually cancels, you still can't include that. Okay, so here are 3 for you to try on your own. Press pause, try them, and then check back for the solutions. Actually, let's do them one at a time. So I'm not yeah. Okay, so this first one here, right, 24 divided by -6 is -4. That goes on top. 2 of the x's on top cancel with 2 on the bottom, so that goes away. Oh, and before you cancel, right, x can't be 0, y can't be 0. So even though these x's cancel, you still can't have x divided equals 0. And then the 2 on the top y's cancel with 2 on the bottom, and you're left with 1 on the y on the bottom. So this is your simplified form, simplest form, and there are your restrictions before you cancel. Okay, so now try B and then come back. Okay, so when you factor this, the x minus 2's cancel, but x still can't be 2 or 3. So it's x plus 4 over x minus 3. Or x can't be 3 or 2. Okay, now try C, then come back. Okay, so here's the answer for this. Be careful when you have x is negative. When you do the GCF, if you pull out the negative, it makes it a little cleaner. So you should take the GCF as -4. So this becomes x minus 3. And then hopefully you're at a point now where you notice this difference of two squares and you don't have to do the diamond with the 0, and you can just change it to x plus 3, x minus 3. Get your two restrictions and then cancel. And there we go. Okay, so now that we know how to simplify, we're now going to multiply them. So remember, when you multiply fractions, you just multiply across. So let's first factor each one of these. This one factors to 3 and -2. So x plus 3, x minus 2. This one is already simplified. This one, x plus 5, x minus 5. And this one, 3 and 1. So x plus 3 and x plus 1. Okay, so when you multiply that across, you get x plus 3 times x minus 2 times x plus 5 times x minus 5 on the top. and then x minus 5 times x plus 3 times x plus 1 on the bottom. So since we're stating any restrictions, we're going to do that first before we cancel. X cannot be 5, x cannot be negative 3, and x cannot be negative 1. Now we can cancel. X plus 3's cancel, x minus 5's cancel, and that's it. So we're left with an x minus 2 on top, an x plus 5 on top, an x plus 1 on top, and x cannot be 5, negative 3, or negative 1. Okay? Not too bad, right? Not too different, then we just have some extra ones to do. Just remember, when you multiply, you just multiply across. Okay, so here is one for you to try on your own. So press pause and then try it, check back for your solution. Okay, so when you take out the GCF here and factor these three and put them together, a lot of x plus 4's here on the bottom. Before we cancel, we restrict, and since these are all 4 the same, right, x can't be negative 4 or 4 here. X minus 4's cancel. Only one x plus 4 cancels, right? This because there's only one on top, so only one on the bottom cancels. So this becomes x plus 4 squared on the bottom, and then a 2 and an x plus 1, where x can't be 4 or negative 4. Okay, so that is multiplying rational expressions. Moving on to dividing. Remember, when we divide by divide fractions, you do keep, change, change, where you keep this fraction, you change the divide to a multiply, and then you basically multiply by the reciprocal. So put this on top and this on the bottom. And then it's basically, right, one of these problems where we're just multiplying. So we'll do the same thing we just did. Let's make this one, let's pull out a negative one. So let's make that a negative x minus 2. And then this one is x minus 1 times x plus 1. This is x plus 1 squared. Right, two numbers that multiply to 1 and add to 2 are 1 and 1. And then two numbers that multiply to negative 10 and add to 3 are 5 and negative 2. So x plus 5, x minus 2. See how fast you got to factor? This is some fun stuff, huh? Okay, before we cancel, x cannot be negative 1, x cannot be negative 5, and x cannot be 2. And then we'll cancel an x plus 1, and we'll cancel an x minus 2. See what happened there? Because we had taken the GCF out here of negative 1 and made that x positive, we were able to cancel with that. Otherwise, we couldn't have canceled that without taking out the negative. So we are left with negative x minus 1 over x plus 1 times x plus 5. And x cannot be negative 1, negative 5, or 2. Okay, so to the next page for you to try one on your own. All right, then press pause and try it, and then come back for the solution. Okay, so this one, it kind of like factored and flipped at the same time, but you should flip it first and then factor. And then, right, so this one factored to be this, and I put it on top. This one factored to be this, I put it on the bottom. So there's all my restrictions, and then there's all the cancels. So here's my answer, and here are my restrictions. Okay, we are going to skip number 4. So we're done. Time for practice. Enjoy.